Hi, it's Mimi at Giggly Guppy. Today we're going to be continuing to read some stories in the book Unlikely Friendships by Jennifer S. Holland. The first story took place in Wyoming in the United States in 1993 and it's called The Donkey and the Mutt. So cute. Some friendships start out a little lopsided but soon wobble into balance. So it was with Safie the Mutt and her buddy Wister, a young male donkey or jack with a reputation for sending canines into hiding, not tempting them into play. The first time the two met, on remote ranch land in Wyoming, Wister was grazing in a meadow and Safie was on a walk with her owner Barbara Smuts. Safie approached the unfamiliar creature to investigate. When Wister noticed the dog, he ran at him aggressively, then turned and kicked. Safie danced out of harm's way, then dropped to her haunches to signal her desire to play. I can just picture that, can't you? But Wister's temper flared again, and his sharp feet shot out. It took 3 air kicks before Safie got the message and backed off. But Barbara, a biologist who specializes in the study of animal behavior, was intrigued by her pup's fascination with this very different species. So on a day when Wister was safely inside his corral, she gave Safie another try at making friends. This time, Safie raced up and down the fence and Wister joined in. Up and back they ran on parallel paths, the dog sometimes barking or growling as part of her rowdy play, the donkey occasionally offering a startling bray in response. Soon Safie began crossing boundaries and testing limits, diving under the fence and tearing through the corral, darting out the other side when the donkey's attention got too intense for her. Then one day after a snowfall, Safie found new confidence and started spending more time inside Wister's enclosure. She discovered that she could maneuver much better in the snow than the donkey could, recalls Barbara. Finally, the pair was able to play outside of the corral entirely, running around like crazy, nipping each other's heels and necks and making mouth-to-mouth contact. They started drinking from the same bowl and napping together. When Barbara and Safie hiked, Wister followed along, and when Wister was put to pasture each day, he'd come looking for his friend. At 5:30 in the morning, he'd bray outside the door where Safie and I slept, Barbara recalls. It was quite an alarm clock. I'd let Safie out to play and go straight back to bed. After 4 months, Barbara's sabbatical ended, and she had to leave Wyoming, which meant Safie had to say goodbye to his friend. We went back to our regular life, and Safie adapted quickly to playing with her old canine friends, Barbara says. But Wister, with no other playmates to turn to, suffered the loss greatly. He stopped eating, lost weight, and soon stood in his corral with his head hung low, uninterested in anything around him. It showed how truly emotional the donkey-dog relationship had been, says Barbara. Concerned for Wister's happiness and health, his owners finally got him a female donkey, a Jenny, for companionship. That's a very effective way to get an adolescent male mammal's attention, Barbara says. Not surprisingly, she cheered him right up. Oh, there's a picture of them again. Wister and Safie. The next story we're going to read today is called The Duckling and the Kookaburra, and this story took place in England in 2010. Oh. The furry yellowish one that walks and talks like a duck is a duck, but that other one is a whole different animal. I'll show you the picture again. So there's the duck right there. So sweet and fuzzy. A 6-week-old kookaburra, the largest of the kingfishers native to Australia and New Guinea, was living solo at the Seaview Wildlife Encounter located on the Isle of Wight in England. Our breeding pair of Kookaburra had a history of killing its chicks, said the park director Lorraine Adams. Though last year they reared three healthy babies on, uh, sorry, Though last year they reared three healthy babies successfully. This year the female laid 3 eggs and killed 2 hatchlings, so we pulled the last one out to save it. The survivor was quickly christened Kooky. Meanwhile, the staff rescued a tiny Madagascar teal duckling, unable to defend itself against larger birds, from one of the park's aviaries. And Lorraine decided rather than keep the duckling in one enclosure and the kookaburra in another, why not place them together for companionship? As an adult, a kookaburra wouldn't hesitate to eat a little duck, but as a young bird, the meat eater is pretty harmless. At that point, Kooky wasn't doing much with his days. Mostly he just sat in his brooder and waited to be fed, Lorraine says. When I first put the duckling in, Kooky just continued to sit there. The new arrival immediately cuddled right up, trying to get under Kooky's wing to warm up, as he would do if his own mother were there. Though not terribly responsive, Kooky showed no aggression, so Lorraine felt the experiment was going well. Show you a picture. Very cute. Still, she thought it best to separate the animals for the night. But when she took the duckling away and put it in a separate brooder, it jumped up and down at the door wanting to get back in with Kooky, she says. In the morning, when the two were reunited, the duckling went right back to cuddling with the larger bird. Since then, 2 more ducklings from the same mother have hatched, giving Kooky triplets to contend with. It's quite an unusual and amazing sight to see 3 ducks disappear underneath him, Lorraine says. They don't share food. Ducklings eat a mix of crumbs and egg, while Kooky feasts on dead chicks, mealworms, and minced beef. But when they're not busy foraging, the ducks are all over Kooky, climbing on his back, sitting on him, and poking their beaks into his feathers and pushing their way under his wings. Kooky stays put like a good babysitter, taking it all in stride. Kookaburras are well known for their call. The birds will throw back their heads, and out will fly a high-pitched cackle that could easily be taken for hysterical human laughter. When the adults kick off laughing, they can be heard all over the park, Lorraine says. But in youth, the birds have little to say. So far, Kooky, despite the circus of activity in his pen, only makes a back of the throat gurgling noise, she says. Perhaps soon he'll let loose with his first wild guffaw, giving his little teal friend a feather raising surprise. The final story we're going to read today took place in Tennessee in the United States in 2009. It's called The Elephant and the Stray Dog. I love dogs. I love elephants. This is going to be a great story. At the Elephant Sanctuary in Hohenwald, Tennessee, elephants brought together from different parts of the world tend to find a friend among the masses. Not surprising for social animals used to life in a herd. Stray dogs, common on sanctuary property, typically ignore the elephants, remaining solo or pairing off with their own kind. Then came a female elephant named Tara and a male dog named Bella to break the mold. Stepping over social traditions, these 2 intelligent mammals found each other, then rarely parted. The gentle giant and the chubby Mutt ate, drank, and slept in tandem. Tara's 3 trunk legs, nope, not three, tree. Tara's tree trunk legs towered over her canine friend's head, but the 2 were content as long as they were side by side. This is another adorable picture I want to show you. Oh my gosh. Can you stand it? This is so cute. Then Bella, the dog, grew ill, and the staff of the sanctuary took him inside to care for him. Tara seemed distressed and stayed near the house where Bella lay, as if holding vigil for him. For many days, as Bella slowly recovered, Tara waited. Finally, the two were reunited. Tara caressed Bella with her trunk and trumpeted, stamping her feet. Bella, all dog, wiggled his whole body in excitement, tongue and tail in a nonstop wag as he rolled on the ground. And in a most remarkable moment, Tara filled one immense foot into the air and carefully rubbed the belly of her friend. Renowned biologist Joyce Poole, who may have logged more hours watching elephants be elephants than anyone on Earth, recalls meeting the pair on a visit to the facility. I was fortunate to get up close and personal to see Tara with both Bella and another dog she'd befriended. She kept trying to cradle the dogs with her trunk. It was delightful to see. But to Poole, such a friendship isn't all that surprising. We know from our work with elephants and from our own relationships with dogs that both animals are very emotional and form close bonds, she says. In the wild, elephants are loyal to tight-knit groups under the influence of a matriarch. They not only adopt one another's young, they even mourn their dead. An elephant like Tara, Poole says, who grew up with a mix of role models and was exposed to other species, has simply shifted that attachment to another kind of animal. Like Dr. Seuss's famously committed cartoon Elephant Horton, who sat in for a wayward mother bird to hatch her egg, it appears that Tara was faithful 100%. And there they are again, the buddies. So those are our 3 happy animal stories for the day from our book, Unlikely Friendships. We still have a few left. We're only this far through the book. So I look forward to seeing you next time so I can read more stories, more animal stories to make you smile.